You can't even talk.
This man got foreign water.
And we are live, fellas. I'm about to go ahead and put out a post.
Yeah,
Okay.
do that.
Tell everybody we live.
Man, boy, this gonna be
This is gonna be crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We're gonna have fun, man. We're gonna definitely have fun.
It's gonna be good, man.
And like always, people gonna come in slow, you know how, because this what actually happens is this like on live, you can tag people, but
Okay.
I can actually go in here and tag people on my iPad, but I'm not gonna tag them at this present moment.
Right.
Once we get everything going.
When you go live, let me know. Tag me in. I can share it. I can add it to my page.
Yeah, I went live. We live right now.
All right. Let me go to your page. Oh no, I don't see it.
Scroll yeah, we there. I'm on there. If you go to my page, yeah, you just probably gotta come to my page and this refresh your page.
Yeah, let me do that real quick because I don't see it yet. I don't know what's up there.
Let me see. Copy.
Reg, you went to A&T, bro?
Yes, sir. Come on, dog. I know you're.
Come on, man.
Come on, listen.
Man.
Hey, listen, man. Listen.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I still don't see it on live.
It says we are live now, but it just got it's a text. It ain't the live video.
It ain't the video.
Hold on.
And it's not shareable either.
Let me make it shareable right now. Edit, privacy. Okay, that's why. That's crazy. Stupid. Now, for some reason, my settings had it where only I could see it. I'm glad y'all said that because I would have been tripping.
Yeah.
My settings. Okay, so let me edit privacy. Yeah, it's public now. It's public now, Hawk. You should.
Yeah, I'm good. I just shared it.
Okay.
So we good.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and send. Let me send this. All right, so got people come. All right, so first off, viewers coming in, man. We know people gonna be coming in by the load. We just gonna go ahead and get started. First off, y'all know me, Reggie McConaughey. I attend God's Tabernacle for Believers, where my dad is the pastor. I play the drums, of course. I have with me tonight. They're gonna introduce themselves, but two outstanding men. One is I watched him play basketball as a young kid. The other one I grew up with at the YMCA. Man, we grew up together. You know, I have a pleasure of knowing these two great young men, great brothers. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and they can go ahead and kick off.
All right. Well, man, I'm Derek Hawkins. Grew up in Salisbury. I pastored a church called The Refuge Church in Greensboro, and I've been doing that going on 4 years now. And that's it.
Bradley Taylor, man, grew up in Salisbury as well. Y'all know it. Pastor the Reach Church here in Salisbury. Been doing that about 9 years. So ready to rock, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
man. Thank you, guys.
And in his absence, Reverend Wilkerson, which he attends New Zion, where Pastor Jones, Jones is the pastor where Reverend Wilkerson is at. He couldn't be with us tonight because he was sick. Sent me a message earlier during the week. But we're praying for his healing. All right, so just to kick off, man. One thing, you know, I'm a young Christian. Y'all are young pastors. You know, I believe, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, because you know we're just talking right now. I think it's a disconnect between the church and the young Christians, because someplace, and we see this, the older Christians, they They tend to tell us what's not right and what we can't do and what doesn't make us a Christian. What doesn't make us a Christian, and a lot of young people are straying away from the church, and they tend to use the word judgmental. They tend to use the word judgmental when talking about these things, and you can always. That's why I don't go to church, because people judgmental. They supposed to be this, supposed to be that. So tell me how y'all feel about that.
B, you kick it.
Man, you gonna throw me to it first.
Yeah,
First of all, man, here's the thing. Like, there's a lot of, I hear that what you just said happens a lot, and there's a lot of stuff I don't really deal with, and I hear stuff like that because I on Facebook going back and forth is where it's not a battle I kind of want to have. But I'm glad to have a conversation like kind of what we having now with anybody. But the reality is, man, first thing comes to my mind when you hear people say that's why I don't go to church. It really ain't why you don't go to church. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you when people do things, I mean, the reality is people are people, and people gonna make mistakes, and people gonna do crazy stuff, man. You got crazy bankers, you got crazy teachers, you got crazy politicians, you got crazy doctors, you got crazy lawyers, you got crazy folk in the world. Crazy is just crazy. Right. And you can't avoid that in church settings. The reality is, the reason why you don't go to church is your own reasons. Right. You know what I mean? You try to justify them because of stupidity that you see people do. But if you got a relationship with God, and you come to understand the importance of church for you, and what the word does for you, and what worship does for you, and how it if it's gratifying to you, then people's actions won't keep you from something that is sacred to you. And the reality is, it hadn't hit you in that manner yet, and we try to use excuses as for the reason why. A lot of times is we get. We put too much, I believe, we put too much pressure or put too much stock into people and into a church setting instead of with our relationship with God. You know what I mean? And so and here's the word again, it's going to be a cuss word tonight, church hurt comes up. You know what I mean? When I really don't think, my whole thing is, I don't believe in church hurt. I believe, when you hurt, you hurt. You can get hurt anywhere. There's no different hurt, because it happened in church. And a lot of people try to put too much, they think, they put church hurt up here. Like, but if somebody, you done got broke up, some people, you done had 5 people break up with you and break your heart in relationships growing up, and you got over that, got you a new boo, moved on. You done got fired from jobs before, went on, did what you had to do. But this church hurt is just at this level where you just can't recover from it. I'll never go back. I'll never, that's bogus. If you find, if your doctor ain't doing you right, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna stop going to the doctor. You're gonna find another one. You know what I mean? Right. If you know what I'm saying? If your job and you got a bad boss, he acting right, you're gonna quit. You're gonna go find another job. So I believe we need to get down to the real issues of what we say and the reasons why we say what we say. And that is, I think people may have experienced something, or people may not be ready to make a real change or really deal with this life or deal with the circumstance. And so they use any excuse they can to stay how they are a little bit longer. That's what I feel. I believe when you say, well, that's why I don't go to church. It's like, brother, you don't even know that person. Like that, you know what I'm saying? They see something online or post something. It's like, see that happen? See that foolishness right there? That pastor said that, did that. That's why I don't even fool with it. Man, they way in California, bro. You don't even know them. They ain't got nothing to do with your decision not to go to church, because there's good churches out here. There's good pastors out here. There's good word being preached in loving societies. And there's people that are growing and lives are being changed every day. And it's not, you know what I'm saying? You can't take the whole religious structure or the church out with a couple bad experiences of people who are not doing it the right way. So, I mean, I know I'm rambling, but that's just how I feel about it.
That's the point. Go ahead, Hawk. What you got to say?
Man, I'm gonna come from a different perspective.
Okay.
I'm gonna come from an unchurched perspective, because I think sometimes we kind of look through the lenses of people that's already like been saved and come from the church background. So I did grow up in church, but I grew up in a different type of church setting, man, where it was more so do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from a negative perspective of it, of hey, this is what I'm telling you to do, but I don't see it. And I think this generation is sick and tired of do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's kind of like that counterfeit culture of all right, we in the church, but you know, and it's and I get the whole point of church hurt, and you know, I get that because it's amazing pastors out here, and I think you can do whatever you want to do, pick and choose what you want to find, and I think, but at the same time, man, growing up, if you're telling me growing up, looking at church for the unchurched person, in our church world, like they're not really in that. They're not, you know, really engaged in what's going on inside the church. They just see the examples of what they see. So I feel like a lot of people in our generation, just me personally, they're not going to church because they didn't grow up in it, like in that church setting. I mean, you got to think outside of me, I'm 36 and my grandmother reared me up in the church, but the generation after that, yo, that's our moms, and now that's becoming us who were unchurched. And so now I think we have to change the approach of going after unchurched people and presenting Christ to them in a way that's really going to draw them to Christ. I think, you know, the scripture tells us no man can come except he be drawn by the Lord anyway. And so I think it's the drawing of the Holy Spirit and God drawing us, but I think it's also a godly example of that. The reason that I wanted to do church is because I do have examples. The reason that, you know, I can look at my bad church experiences, but I can also look at my relationships with like a Pastor Bradley. So it makes me look at church differently. But if I'm honest, you know, people have a real reason to have issue with the church because of the way that we have presented. Some of us, not all of us, have presented the church to them that it's still not an excuse, but I can see why people would take issue with it. That's my perspective on that.
Okay, so Janelle Wood, she said this generation is saying prove it.
Right.
And I agree. And so I'm gonna speak on my perspective when you say prove it. Now like we talked the other day, my dad been preaching since 92. He a pastor. I've been in church pretty much all my life. But even by me being in church, I wasn't in church, if y'all understand what I'm saying. I was just there.
Yeah.
I was just there. Until I developed a real relationship with God is really when I started seeing his work and his favor for me as a Christian, because it ain't just about showing up. It ain't just about me going to play the drums on Sunday. It's not about that. It's about me developing a relationship, reading my word, praying, doing those things. And I really been seeing, and when she say the generation wants you to prove it, I really been seeing him prove himself to me that he is God. Because like I put up a post, I said, you know, we tend to ask for things, and once we get them, we back out in the street doing our own thing. God gave us what we wanted,
yeah,
and we back doing the same thing. And I was like, and I really started looking at myself like, yo, I can't. God is not like a bank. He's not a bank. Like he and Hawk, you said something the other day when you was preaching, when you was talking about a kiss. When you was talking about like some of us just want to kiss God. We don't want to cling to him. We just want to kiss him. And that that stuck with me. Like, yo, that relationship is right. Like, if I can just go up and kiss anybody and not have any kind of affection for them at all. But when you cling to somebody, that's that affection. That's showing somebody that you really love them.
Right.
And that's good. Like that's my whole point. Like, and I'm kind of in the middle. Like I'm young enough to understand, but I'm old enough to understand both sides. But I'm like you, Reg. Like I'm a PK as well. Like, so I have that history of being in church but wasn't in God.
Right.
And really literally, like I remember, like even when I was at school, Winston State, I would come play drums and you know, for my dad. Then I'm like
Mhm.
on my phone after that, back to campus, going to watch football. Like, where we meeting at? Like, I got the
Right.
6-pack. Like, it was like, it wasn't even like, it wasn't, you know, that was something that I did because I grew up. So I understand that. But my thing is, when I was ready, to settle down, when I felt it was time for me to mature and change and shift, and I believe God was pulling and tugging on me. You know what I'm saying? That decision wasn't like, it wasn't clouded by other people's foolishness.
Right.
Like when I really got ready to do it and seeking God, I was gonna do it in spite of the craziness I saw, because I knew that there was a God, and even though people weren't presenting him in the right way, I knew that I was searching that and wasn't searching like the 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 affection and the attention and all that from people. And so when people say prove it, like my question is like, what are we wanting to prove?
Right.
Like what from the people? Like what is it that it's going to make you, you know, say, I've got to get closer to God. I've got to get closer to you know what I'm saying, to the creator.
If they
Because
stay,
because if people have that hold that much weight in getting me closer to him, I gotta ask the question, do you really want him, or do you really just want to understand what it means to be in church? And I think that's two different things.
right.
So, B, you said something good. I think there's a difference between church and relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like we based our religious experience on church and not personal relationship with God. And I
Right.
think that that's what's kindled our generation. Like that, there's a church. But for me, like, let me backtrack to go back to that. Like, I grew up in an experience like drugs, seen drugs, sold drugs, smoke weed. So it was a little different for me
Yeah.
because the deacons that I would see on Sundays were also at different houses smoking crack.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just being honest.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
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 hey,
yeah,
bro,
yeah,
go out
yeah,
here, let
yeah.
Deacon, go out there, let Deacon so and so pray for you. I'm like, oh, Deacon so and so just got to hit that pipe. Now, come on now. So,
Right, right, right,
so the
right,
whole
right, 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 right,
show me is,
right,
like, show me your life. If I see you in the same places that I'm at,
right.
I mean, and you're displaying that, like, I think I have
I
more
get that.
respect for the person who's trying,
Yeah.
but they're not professing to be something, than the person professing who's not
Right.
living what they're professing.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I'm like, show me, like, if I'm following Pastor B, like, I expect that there be a standard in
Mm,
what I'm following. You know what I mean? Like, that
right.
is like, even though you guys grew up as PKs, I didn't. My grandfather was a
Yeah.
pimp. So
Yeah.
that's what
well,
it
you
was. I'm gonna keep it real. So
right.
I didn't grow up as a PK. My
Yeah.
grandmother was in church, but my home situation wasn't good. So I didn't have an example. I smoked weed, got out of church, went to church. Every time I, like, hey man, I'm in trouble. Let me run. Let me run. Like B said, let me smoke this. Man, I done got myself in some trouble. Let me
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then one day I was playing it got real. And then when it
Right,
got
right.
real, that thing started drawing me. But to be like backing too, like, there was no example. There was nobody that I could look at and say, "Bro, I want to be like them when I grow up." You know what I'm saying? That wasn't around me. It wasn't until I got older, and like you said, I had that relationship with God for myself, and it became personal. That I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to, regardless of what I seen my grandmother do, regardless of what I seen family members do. I was like, I need something for myself. But it took me years to get into that. But I really didn't have a blueprint for me to walk in. So I do understand for that person saying, show me, at least if you're gonna be it, be about it.
Right. And but here's my thing, and I get it. And because you Hawk, you know me and my congregation
Yeah.
now. Like I got plenty of cats that are unchurched. And I
Right.
think what the draw, or what makes them feel comfortable is, and here's what I want to get more even pastors to understand, and more Christians to understand, that I think the reason why that disparity is so much is because that pedestal is too high. Like that pedestal for believers and Christians, and that mark and that standard, even for pastors sometimes, it's too high, bro. And it's like where they put pastors at, man. I just, I I ain't that perfect. I ain't
Right.
that perfect to say,
Nobody, bro.
because I'm now pastoring, because I'm now preaching, that I ain't gonna make mistakes. And
Right.
I'm transparent about I'm transparent about those who walk with me, about I ain't telling them every detail about my struggle, but I'm transparent. I'm still struggling with stuff like I'm still growing in God. Like I'm, you know what I mean? I found myself doubting, and I had to shake myself and say, hold on, am I trusting in God? Or am I walking in faith? Like those kind of things, we got to really still understand and let them see our process and our growth and kind of how we've used the word to kind of pattern our life so that they can come behind that and start patterning their life in the same way. But I think what we get in trouble is we try to paint this picture as believers that we're holy and you're not. So that when we do make mistakes, it's like, man, you just like me. When you know what I'm saying? When the reality is, okay, if you making if you ain't, you know what I'm saying, if you did it 20 times and I slipped in one, you know what I'm saying, there is a difference that the word has helped me, even though I might have made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Is like, if you're putting a believer to say, prove to me that walking with God is going to bring you to a place where you're walking without wrinkle, without yeah, man, without a limp. I think that's what sets it up, and it gives ammo for people to look at believers and say, see, I told you they want that saved because they looking for us to slip. When the reality is we gonna slip.
Right.
And nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. And that's just like I relay to my students the type of student I was in school. And I tell them like, hey, come on, Hawk.
Oh.
Come on, Hawk. Don't do me like that, Hawk. Hey, listen, I tell them, and that's why my students love me, yo, because I'm real with them. I let them know, like, yo, I'll use this word for myself. I was a trash student. I wasn't the best student with grades. I stayed getting on the teacher's nerves. But listen, it's about growth. It's about elevating every day. You try to get better than you was yesterday. And I think as a Christian, man, I think, we try to get what some people fail to realize is, like you said, Pastor Taylor, like, it's a daily walk. Nobody's perfect. It's a daily walk. It's a daily struggle. Listen, my pops in his 60s, and he'll tell you he's nowhere near perfect. And he's doing this Christian thing for 33 years. He's been doing it for 33 years. Your dad was doing it for a long time. I mean,
over 50, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody is perfect, but you still strive to be better than you was the day before. And that's what it's all about. That's what
Hawk said something, and I'm gonna give him time to talk. I'm sure he got something to say. He said something, man, it's so key. It's what I try to present to people, even in my daily walk, when I interact with people, when I'm preaching, when I'm pastoring, when I'm living, when I'm talking, when I'm counseling, I try to let people see my relationship with God. Right. You know what I'm saying? And how the importance of him in my life has helped to now structure and kind of put things in priority, and how important it is to have that relationship. And as long as you've got that governing your life, even when you find yourself in holes and find yourself in slumps and find yourself in crazy, if I can show or teach or kind of let people see the importance of having a relationship with Christ, man, and having that then you can pull yourself out of any rut you're in. But I think a lot of people, like Hawk said, man, we're trying to show people the religious order of church before we're trying to introduce them to a relationship with Christ that's going to help them grow. You know what I mean? And if we get that piece, man, we don't get bent out of shape because people ain't where they were supposed to be right now. We know if they walk with Christ long enough, that stuff gonna fall off.
Yeah. It's levels. It's all about levels, man. It's all about levels, because like everybody know, I like to play video games. I'm an avid video game player.
Are you really, man? Come on, man.
Come on, dog.
Are you avid? Are you addicted? Are you avid?
I'm not addicted. I'm not.
You gotta be shaming yourself, man.
I'm not addicted. But listen, I gotta play every night. It's my therapy, man. I love playing the game. Like it's just something for me, man.
I got you.
It's levels. Like if I'm playing a game, I know I can't go to level 20 like I was at level 1 because I'm a loser. So let's say it's steps, man. It's steps. And like I say, I've been going to church since I was 8. I'm 36. And I can honestly say that I myself did not take Christ serious until I met my wife. I'm just being real. And I only been
a good woman to do that to you now. My God.
Hey, this thing say is his word. Hey, the title of this thing is his word against not mine.
His word, not mine.
That a sanctified woman would sanctify her husband.
Hey, thank you.
Hey,
my wife helped me too, bro. That's facts.
I'm telling you, man, it's true because you know they say when like I got one of my friends on here, Miss Alfred. They say when you find a when Christ said you find a good thing. What the word say, pastors? What the word say, pastors?
Man, find a wife, you find a good thing and obtain a favor from the
Lord. That's what he said.
Favor from the Lord.
That's what he said, and that's when I realized that I really had to take my walk with Christ serious because I knew one day I was gonna have a family, and I had to be that mountain for that man for my family, for my daughter, and for my wife. And I'm right now, like I'm being honest, man. Like I haven't felt this good in a long time, man. That's why I was telling y'all, even with the podcast, I was wanting to do everything in the book. I was wanting to talk to rappers. I was wanting to talk about sports. I was wanting to talk about video games. And God was like, nope. Every time I tried to do something, nope, shut it down. It wouldn't go right. Shut it down. It wouldn't go right. It was boring. It couldn't get my conversation off. But this right here, if God placed this on my heart, and that's why I know this is where we need to be, you know, educating our educating Christians, man. Y'all, you know, letting them see y'all in a different form that they don't get to see y'all in. Even me.
Hey, I want to add this just because when you talk about like I think people are over religion, like that's over. You know, I think they want to prove to you like why do you serve the God that you serve? Yes. And that's a representation. But I'm gonna be honest, like I gave my life back to Christ in early like 2005, and I remember I was riding in the car. I think my brother Buff or Brian Nilly, man, and we were riding, and I was like, man, bro, I don't think I can do this. Right. Like I don't think I can fully commit myself to this walk because I'm like, I'm going back, and I'm gonna go back to the block. I'm gonna go back harder than I was before. When I'm gonna go back 10 times harder. And he wasn't even like, he grew up in church, but you know, we was on different paths doing different stuff. He's like, bro, you can't go back. And it wasn't the seed of a believer that made me want to continue my walk. Right. It was actually somebody that just spoke to me truth, and it penetrated my heart in a way that I heard it. I'm gonna be honest, I'd have been in some places when young in my walk in the beginning, like I shouldn't have been, and it was a drunk that told me, bro, you ain't supposed to be here. Right, you know what I mean? You in the wrong spot. Like you're not supposed to be here. Right. And I think what we do is we kind of judge those individuals because they're not where they need to be, that we don't feel like we can still receive from a person that's not where we think that they should be. But when it's a personal relationship, you can glean from anything. Right. Because it's personal. Like, and this walk is a hard, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, man. This is a hard walk. This is not easy. And I think people look at the outside like, man, you know, this is hard. The mental warfare, we could talk about that. We could talk about the attacks against our flesh, or the amount of people that try to come against us when you want to respond and you can't respond. You know, like we're human too, but at the same time, it's personal. It's personal. Like the reason that I haven't left my wife is not because I don't have opportunities. Come on, man. The reason I haven't left my wife is because I'm committed to my relationship with God. Right. And my commitment is greater than that. So to what Bradley was saying, like it's deeper than the church. I'm not going to church because the pastor say everything I agree with, or mother so-and-so, like, I'm over that. Or you can't wear this and you done had too many kids, or you came in smelling like, come on, hey, let's go. But what I'm saying is my personal relationship. When I first came to church, I was smoking an ounce of weed. You know what I mean? And then the Lord delivered me from that. So it's a process. What we fail to realize is your relationship with Christ is a process, and you don't get there overnight. No. It takes time to get there. It takes maturity to get there, and it also takes mistakes to get there. Sometimes your greatest mistakes or your biggest lessons learned. Like you learn lessons from your mistake, and it helps to strengthen and deepen your relationship with Christ. That's all I want to say about that, because I know y'all.
Now you so good, man. Hey, and let me add one to all the other things it takes. It takes a voice.
Right.
You don't need everybody to get you.
Nah.
You need a voice that can see your potential, see what you're gonna become, and not intimidated with your mistakes you're making right now, and that can speak life into you and help pull you along in your walk with Christ in spite of the church.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't have that voice yet, that person yet, that believer that's real enough for them to see this thing really working, see this thing see them really progressing, and taking the time to invest in them to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? What you need from your relationship with God is bigger than the church, is bigger than religion, is bigger than people understanding, is bigger than people judging. You need to get yourself together and get the word in you, because you're going to be a family man, because you got these business aspirations, because what the things that God has for you and the goals that you set is bigger than a group of people. And when you understand that, you'll find the right body and the right pastor or the right minstrel that's going to speak to your spirit and stir up your gift and get you to moving in the right direction. And until you find that, you're going to be frustrated. But the reality is, you know what I'm saying, all those things are necessary that Hawk talked about. But number one, somebody's got to be able to speak into you.
Right.
Yeah. You know
what I'm saying? Who's that person that you can take truth from now, even though you ain't doing what you're supposed to do? You know you still jacked up. You know you still ain't living right. But if that person talks, you be like, I hear you, man. I got you.
Can I be honest though? And it's not always the pastor. I know
it ain't always the pastor.
I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get in
right.
trouble though. But what I'm saying is, I've had greater this is me personally. Yeah. Sometimes I've had greater trust from people who were unchurched than I had with people in the church. You know, like that's not always been the case, and I had to grow. But what I'm saying is, like, sometimes what you're expecting people to care for you, it doesn't always come, because they're not in right relationship with God themselves.
Right.
And sometimes there's the most critical person that you can't receive from them. Like, I don't want somebody, every time I come to you, you telling me. Sometimes I just need to tell you where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, can I be honest? Sometimes I don't even want you to go deep with me. I get that. For me, as a pastor, I look for a safe place. Sometimes my safe place is just taking a ride. Sometimes my safe place is calling my brother. That I know that ain't gonna talk nothing about the church, because when I'm coming down from pastoring people all throughout the week, because we're always being available, like, you need a safe place. And what I want people to understand is this, that we're not perfect, and you are not either.
Right.
You're not either.
Right. Right.
The perfect Christian that you're looking for, he already gone, bro. Yeah. So we can never, and I'm not making an excuse, because I do believe that there's certain standards that pastors and leaders and believers should look to. But what I'm saying is, don't look more at the church building than people actually becoming the church. And we got to get in our minds that we have to become what we've been looking at.
Right. Yeah. Right. And the reality is this: even if you're looking at examples or not real examples, the Bible says that we let everyone work out their own soul salvation. Like, so my thing is, because if I see people that I believed in, man, listen, let me just say this. I can go back here. When I first started pastoring, I'm gonna get in trouble.
But hey,
when I first
you get a haircut,
oh man, yeah. Chill. Hey, but listen. I've been cutting my own hair since I was 14, bro.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody to cut my hair. I always cut my own hair.
Oh, okay.
People ain't know that. So, So check it. Yeah, that's what kept me to school, Winston State. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they know, them Rams out there know I have fourth floor and second floor on lock. But anyway, back to what I was saying. When I first got saved, man, like when I first became pastor, one of my most disappointing discoveries was there was some older cats in the church that helped rear me and raise me that's been here for a long time. And so now, as I'm leading those cats, I'm understanding that they ain't really who I thought they were.
Oh, you went there?
I'm saying. Most of them ain't there now. Most of, but I'm saying, but I'm saying, well,
that's episode 4. We're not going there tonight.
Yeah, that's episode. Come on, Pastor.
That's too early, yo. That's too early.
No, but I'm saying is it wasn't that they wasn't saved, but I'm saying is I'm talking about an expectations. Mm-hmm. There's an expectation because they've been in this thing for so long, and because I looked at them in a certain level, when I understood where they really were, I had to readjust. I had to readjust and not judge and not be like, okay, man, you know what I'm saying? You've been doing this all this time, you ain't really got this and you ain't there. It's almost like, okay, it's a reality that I now have to readjust our relationship and move forward together. And I think a lot of people can't do that with each other. Like even outside the church, like there's a lot of people, even in their parent situations, or those that they see as mentors, when they see another side of them, they can't readjust. It was like, instead of understanding that people only can love you or treat you at their capacity. Mm-hmm. And if they're not there yet, a lot of times we expect people to be at another level that they're not able to be at. And so we judge them as not being authentic. Mm-hmm. When actuality, man, we're just not that picture that they painted in their head.
Man, I honestly think people get to a certain plateau and they get comfortable and don't think they have to grow anymore.
Whoa!
I think they get to
oh man, you need to stop, man.
Hey, yo, y'all coming out swinging tonight.
Hey. I think people get to a spot and they don't think they have to grow anymore because they think they have it all. And that's not the case. That's not the case. And like I say, I'm not a pastor, my dad is, but y'all two are. It could be somebody that come off the street and they be ready to work, and it's somebody that's been there 20 years and ain't ready to work. But as soon as that person that come off the street ready to work, they mad. Come on, man. This
is my position.
Right. They grabbing, they calling, man. They jumping in there quick. They jumping in that fire. They ready to work.
Man, let me say this. I mean, listen, there's some things that I learned from the old church that has kept me.
True.
Like it's kept me, man. It's certain roots that were there that kept. To be honest, our sense of community, our sense of cause, our sense of purpose, our sense of family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's such an attack, especially on the Black church, man. Like, let's talk about that. The attack on the Black church. The Black church was the voice for civil rights. It was the voice. Like, everything was birthed from the Black church. That's the only hope we had. So when people see that it's not what it used to be, I don't even think it's just so much like, oh man, I'm over. It's like, nah, this is not what I grew up experiencing. Because there's some people that was the real deal when I grew up. It was like they was the real deal. Every person wasn't a counterfeit. Just like it's some people out here now. Now the only difference now is, and we can keep it 100. Unsaved people's discernment is very sharp. Because we know, when people ain't right. That's just something called intuition.
Recognized game. Huh?
They ain't recognized game. So the same way you are as a preacher, if you was the same way, and they already know when you've been creeping over here with their aunt, and so you can't really get that past them. So what I'm saying is, like, they just want to see it real. But
Hawk, you got a soap up over them.
That boy said the aunt.
The aunt smoking
y'all don't want to tell no. I ain't gonna. Come on now, let's be real.
You're right though. You're right.
What they're saying though is this: show me more. Like, what are we doing in the community? That's a whole lot of things I hear from the people. Like, what are y'all doing? What are you doing with people's tithes? What are you doing with their offering? Like, what is it coming back into the community? That's the stuff that when they say, show me, show me what you're doing, what you're asking for this, but what is it proving in our community? And I think, and I don't forgive me, man, we got to get our voice back. Like, the respect has to be earned again so that people will trust again what they used to trust. That's just me. I'm done. I'm done on that.
That was good stuff.
I mean, I get you, Hawk, man, and I really do understand. I really do understand. And I got a lot of young people, man, that look up to me, and so I understand, and I hear this all the time. I really do understand it. But here's my real question, and I know I'm gonna get myself in trouble, and a lot of folk looking at me, I ain't gonna understand this, but it's the reality, man. I'm just gonna
say it.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, don't like I don't like, and I'm like this anyway. Like, there's a guy, and I ain't gonna say no names. There's some couple cats who just want to talk and philosophize, man, talk about the Bible when they ain't really ready to really act.
I gotta take a break. I'll be back.
He gonna walk out on me on this one. It's not even about a desire that they have for it. It's just almost like, you know what I mean? You just want to call it out, but you ain't got no interest and no investment. Like, you ain't even trying. Like I guess that's my thing. A lot of cats who, what you doing for the community? What you doing this? What y'all about at that church? What y'all got going over that church? And you've never really once, even if I tell you the 10 things we doing for the community, you ain't trying to come.
Right.
Like, you ain't gonna show up. Like, it ain't even about, you know what I'm saying? It ain't, because and it's almost like you trying to step over people and crush ministries and expose people because you just don't like the church or like it anyway. So you just want to just rip it into shreds. It's not a question of, listen, I want to know because I want to know where I need to be connected to because I have a desire to do this or to move forward. That's a whole different conversation. Those kind of questions, and I can see your heart in that. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about that. If you're really concerned about, man, hey, Pastor, man, I really like the way you know what I'm saying, break down the word. I really like what y'all doing here, but I would love to see y'all meet more in the community. What are y'all doing more in the community? Or how can we help you get connected in the community? That's a whole different conversation than somebody who was like, man, he fraud. Man, they ain't nothing. I don't see him in the community. I don't see him doing this and I don't see him doing that. So I ain't fooling with it.
But you know what it goes back to, though. That goes back to them knowing you from a different perspective.
Okay.
It goes back to, like, for instance, if you was a liar and a cheater in the street, then you're gonna be from their common mind, you're gonna be a liar and a cheater behind the pulpit. It don't matter how much God has elevated you, it don't matter how much He's changed you. They don't see that. They don't see how people have changed, and they don't understand that God changes people. He changes us daily. If your walk is serious with Him, then every day, even though we still may mess up, but every day you getting stronger in your walk.
Let me say this though.
So Reg, hold on. So Reg, this is good right here. So now, put yourself in my shoes as a pastor who's know what God has done in my life.
Right.
Now, do I spend my energy trying to prove that person that my change is real? Or do I just move forward in my change, and those who feel it and connect with me, we rock together?
You move.
What do I do? So a lot of cats try to pin you to me trying to spend time trying to prove to you that I'm legit. Like, I ain't got time. Like, that ain't gonna. It ain't even gonna work like that.
It boils down to this: what you do will never be good enough. Period.
That's what Pastor John.
What you do. Said. I mean, let's go there. Like,
yeah.
Let's take it out of the context of the church. What you do for people will never be enough. It'll never be good enough. So you'll spend the rest of your life trying to please people. When if you're in personal relationship, and I know that my heart is right, and I know that my intentions are pure, I don't have to prove people wrong, man. I'm not. It's not even about that. But you can learn from your enemy. There's a lot of things, if you listen closely enough to your enemies, that your enemies can teach you things that can become your strengths. What happens is we get so offended when people start saying stuff that we go automatically in defense mode. To be honest, if there's no truth to it, then I don't have to combat it. No, I don't have to combat anything where there's no truth to it. It only rubs me the wrong way when there's truth to what they're saying. So then what I got to do is now I got to examine my heart to say, am I doing enough? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? But if there's no merit in the game, because I already know what I'm doing, I don't have to seek public attention. What I do is in private. I got private approval. I don't need public approval. So what I'm saying is, when my heart is right,
I thought we ain't preaching tonight. I'm about to send you an offering. I'm about to give you a
Hey,
seed.
let go, let God.
Woo! What's your cash out, bro?
Yeah.
Money's hold up. Yo, but what I'm saying, truth though, it's true. What I'm saying is this, and I say that to say this.
Yeah.
I think we have become people pleasers. So we move based upon a person's comments, what they say and what they do. That's a heart check for us, not for them. That's a heart check for us. If a person can move me by their comments, then where's my roots in Christ? That's just me. I'm done though.
That's so good, man. I can remember. I'm getting myself in trouble one more time. Reg, I'm gonna let you talk. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take a.
No, you good.
But guess what, man? Like you saying, that's so good, Hulk, man. Because I remember when I first moved to Salisbury, when I first took this church over, when I first moved to Salisbury, man, trying to get connected in the community and community cats doing this, man. I'm trying to, go everywhere to let folks say, no, I'm for the community and doing this and this and that. And man, it was like, man, the cats I was trying to, that was doing community work, even though they weren't in the church, they were doing community work. And I was trying to it's true, even old school pastors trying to get connected, man, and trying to do community and fellowship. And it was like, they talk about, what I'm saying, cats in the community, they talk about where the church is, where the pastors, where does this and that. And it's like, when we show up though, this real talk, all they say is, man, pastors ain't here more, and pastors ain't doing this, pastors, man, I'm right here. But I ain't gonna keep coming, for you to bash me when I'm here. I can't go back on our ancestors and what my daddy did and what those other pastors did and whatever. And so it got to the place, man, if I was on social media and post, hey, the community, we doing this for the community, then Cass was talking about, Hawk just said it, they're talking about you no matter what. If you post what you're doing, then, oh, you just want to be seen. Tatum just want to be seen. And then if you don't post it, well, I don't never see them doing nothing in the community. So it's like, man, so I just learned just move in silence, man. We do so much that never gets on Facebook. We ain't got the camera saying, hey, we out here giving away food and we out here doing this and that. Now, you know what I'm saying? So I had to really learn that I'm not trying to get approval for anybody. I ain't trying to get validation from any cats in this community. Only if I'm in the will of God and doing what I'm supposed to do, and my heart is pure, and I'm helping people, and we're being a blessing where we've been called to being a blessing, man. I had to learn that that's enough.
Bro, that's good. Bro,
that's enough,
good.
man.
That's really
and so
good.
That's what we are. We in this corner, man. I've kind of drew the lines around kind of where God has called us to do in the West End, man. And that's what we're gonna serve. And I ain't looking for no fanfare and all this and this and that. But it's like I had to learn though, because Cat's comments was getting to me. And it was this need to let people from my home. That's why I didn't want to move back here. I'm gonna tell you what. I used to be in banking, man, in shop, and leaving my job to do ministry full time was a hard decision. But moving back to Salisbury was the hardest decision I ever made. And when God told me to come back to Salisbury to get closer to where I've been called, listen, that was like pulling teeth. Like I didn't want to come because I knew that I was gonna come back to try to minister to folks that knew me as a child, man, and understanding that process was gonna be difficult. So that was one. I mean, but that's really key, man. Understanding who you are in God and what God has called you to do, and really not really living to show people that you are legit, but just be who it is.
For real.
Hey, listen. Pastor Jones said, if the guys were in the street with us, they would see the work that we're doing. I mean, he's right. He's right. He's right. But
hey,
yeah, man, Pastor Jones been rolling with me, man. Yeah, shout out to Jones, man.
Right,
yeah, Pastor Bates, Pastor Jones,
Stanley
man.
Rice, Andrew Davis, like for real.
We've been giving out 300 meals every day since the kids been out of school. Like, you know what I'm saying? 2 hours a day, every single day. I've been riding with that dude, man. You hardly ever see us. Pastor Bates been doing like every day. Never put ain't nobody in front of the camera.
Legend, man.
Ain't nobody doing nothing like that. We doing work, man. But it's like, the other cats just saying the church ain't doing nothing. That's why I ain't with the church. Come on, man. That ain't everybody.
Hey, listen, man. It's okay. Y'all boys keep moving forward, doing God's will. Hey, listen, people. Listen. I know it was getting good, but listen. We're gonna cut it off for the night. Make sure next time we tune in, his word, not mine. We're gonna have some different things. We're gonna have questions from, because I can see everything that everybody posts. So next time on the next show, we'll have a segment where you want to ask them some questions, get a perspective from anybody. Hey man, I'm just a facilitator. I'm just here. I'm just letting these brothers, do what they do. I'm definitely getting the word while I'm listening to them. Definitely growing as well. But I definitely enjoyed myself tonight. Y'all keep sharing this link, man. Keep sharing this link. Pastor Taylor, Pastor Hawkins, do y'all have any closing remarks y'all like to say?
Oh, thank you, man. I'm humble, and just everybody that's watching, man, send your comments. We just trying to get people engaged in a real conversation. So do me a favor, like if y'all watching it and you thought it was good, share it on your pages. And I think it can motivate. We're gonna bring some people on. We're gonna talk about some different stuff. We won't be the only ones facilitating, but when Reg brought it to us, man, me and Pastor B was like, let's do it. So we just rock it with the vision, but I think it could be really, really big. We want to talk about different stuff, not just church. Like we're going to talk about a lot of different subjects. Yeah. So, we want to get your opinions and viewpoints. So just type your comments. What are some things you want to hear us talk about? We're going to talk about it, and it's going to be good. Look forward to seeing y'all the next time.
Pastor Bradley?
Yeah, man. Hey, Hawk said it. He did a real good job of summoning. That's my thing, man. My hope is, number one, that you hear our hearts. I know Pastor Hawkins, man. He's a good friend of mine. Of course, we all know Reg, man. McConaughey, man. Is these are three brothers that really got a heart to do things right, man. So hopefully, that you will hear our hearts and kind of allow us to be transparent, man. I'm excited about the journey of being able to, I don't mind being transparent, talking about my journey, man. And I don't even mind if people look at me different than when it's over, man, because I don't want the pedestal. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to put, I don't want you to put me at a place where that God didn't put me. And so I'm just trying to, man, walk in the grace He's given me to do the assignment that He's given me, and hopefully change some lives in the process. And so I'm excited about the journey, man. I will say I would love, if it's possible, I would love to be able to see some comments too, or either just kind of or pull in some comments if you see them and be like, yo, if they're real juicy comments, let's get in it, man. I ain't scared.
Grab your cell phone. Yeah, I keep my cell phone with me so I can see all the comments.
Yeah, I got you. Hey. Yeah. I'm on my cell phone, so that's the move. I need to get on another device and then just follow on my cell phone. I got you next time.
Yeah, I got 3 of them things right here. Hey, but man, listen, God bless everybody for tuning in tonight, man. And we're gonna see y'all next time, man.
Crazy.
We out.
Peace.